Jedi Mastery in the King's Indian Defense. So King's Indian, one of my all-time favorite openings, especially right now in this point in my game where I am at the level that I'm at now. I'm a big fan of the King's Indian Defense. I'm also looking into the Dutch too, but the King's Indian Defense is I've been playing it for the last year exclusively. I love it. I played against almost anything other than E4, and it works out a lot. It's very strong stuff. And of course, Gary Kasparov plays it. Dean Liren, you have Carlson. Of course, Nakamura played it. Bobby Fischer, greats played his Tal. You know, my favorite player is Tal. So King's Indian Defense. So here we go. First off, what this is a blitz game. I'm playing in one of my blitz sessions where I'm just play a whole bunch of blitz games, analyze the majority of them, and figure out, you know, just ways of what I'm having problems with through the opening or etc., or where I was having the most trouble in that session. Where was it? So I can tweak it and be better. And from there, so I am playing a 3-0 game here against an international master here, very strong. At the time that his rating online here was 2450, something like that. Let me see. Do they have the ratings? Actually, it's right here. Yes. So in this game, he's 2452, and I am 2535. So a little bit higher rated. No cereal, but I'm here. All right, we in here. We in here. KF32 says Matt Smith. That's right. See, KF32 is the move you should always be looking for on your board, guys. Martin Kessler says we in here. That's right. So here we go. King's Indian Defense. I played black here. He's playing the white pieces, of course. D4, knight f6. Okay, c4, g6. And knight f3 or knight c3, all the same stuff. I go bishop to g7, knight to c3, castles, e4, d6. This is all theory here. And this is how the starting position of this happens all the time in the King's Indian Defense. Now, the problem here is, not problem, but you just have to worry about this big center. Where white, you feel like you can be crushed. But here's the thing about the King's Indian, King's Indian Defense. It's very, very dynamic. So you look for stuff like e5 and c5 all the time. So if they go bishop g5, you go c5 because they're trying to stop you from playing e5. And in other lines, you're striving to go e5. If you can't go e5, then you go c5. And it's your job to kind of beat up the center here as much as you can. So he goes bishop e2. This is all standard theory. I go e5. He goes castles. And also here, guys, if you ever wonder, of course, for King's Indian players, why don't people take this? You absolutely can. There is a line that people take it, but they just don't because it gives up a lot of, I would say, counterplay. And also just a good position for black. It's equal. Pawn takes, knight takes e5. If you do a quick pawn count, I am up a pawn as white. But I simply just actually take here. But it's actually queen takes d1 first. So let's d8 actually takes. It's knight takes e5. Knight takes e4. That's a shot right there as I'm getting my center pawn. Knight takes, and everything's smooth here. We're even. Bishop g5 is the line. Okay, so what you usually do. I think it's bishop takes b2. As weird as that is, maybe it's rook e8. It's one or the other. And then if knight f6 takes, and then you go bishop f5 and then knight d7. So you lose the bishop pair here, but knight to d7, you go f6, knight e5, and stopping this file. And it's very equal for black, very equal. That's usually how that happens, but people don't ever do this. So and if they do, then they're just not going to have the best game. So knight to c6, d5. This is the best way for white to strive for an advantage here in this particular King's Indian Defense if you're playing this one. So d5 was played on the board. After d5, I go knight to e7. Now you have many ways to go. You can play knight e1. You can play b4. There's also randoms, h3s, bishop g5s. Bishop g5, there's a special name for this one. I forgot, but not a big fan of that one. It's not that good, honestly. But the best ones to go to are classicals, knight e1, Mar del Plata, or knight to d2. Knight to d2 and knight e1 are the main lines here. So here's what white does. White goes knight to d2. So this one I don't get as much. I do not get a lot of play here with the knight d2 one. And it's actually funny because the guy's international master, very strong. So I know he's going to play some big boy chess here. Thanks for the follow, just a box in the cage. Appreciate that. Whoa, everybody stop what you're doing. And shout out to Ben Feingo for rating us just now with 211 people and the host of 470. Shout out to Feingo. Man, I hope you had a great stream, Feingo. I hope it was awesome. Thanks so much for the raid, dude. Mr. Pope with the Twitch Prime. We in here, bro. We in here. That's right. GM Ben is the best. Absolutely. Absolutely is. Absolutely. Shout out to Ben, the big fella. Let's just get some love in the chat, guys, for Ben Feingold coming through with the raid, guys. Let's just get some love in the chat. Shout out to everyone, all the new raiders here. We're going over game analysis tonight. Okay. Pretty nice. So we're going over the King's Indian Defense. King's Indian Defense. Thanks for the follow. We're going over to King's Indian Defense tonight, and this is the YouTube channel. This is where all of the videos are going to go. You can catch other analysis videos right there. So, man, that's cool. Nice. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for the raid, dude. Thanks for the follow, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He's explaining correct. Dina Webb, thanks, bro. Thanks for the extended sub. So we're going to start this from the beginning for everyone that just got here. Thanks so much for hanging out here. Here we go. So I'm playing the black pieces. Again, we're going to talk about this game. This is a blitz game that I played recently, actually, in one of my blitz sessions, where I'm actually going through and playing games and analyzing a lot of my stuff. So thanks for the sub, Dean of the Web. Appreciate it, bro. So that's what we're going through. So here we go. Here we go. So this guy's an international master is white. I'm playing the black pieces, King's Indian Defense. He's 2452. I'm 2535 at this time. So we go through the King's Indian here, and here we go. Okay, he's playing white. We go through regular King's Indian theory. This is always the starting position of the KID. In most lines, you also have a sameness variation, which is F3 instead of knight F3. And then you have other stuff like early H3s and G4s, which is interesting. So, but let's check this out. So now after D6, there's bishop E2. This is mainline stuff. Usually I go E5 and then castles. Again, if you're just getting here and don't understand, this is a move. This is a way to play. This is not a free pawn due to black having a nice tactic here. Knight takes E4, knight takes. I get my pawn back. I'm fine. No problems here. Bishop G5, rook E8, knight F6, takes, bishop F5 for some threats here. I forgot what white does here. But whatever he does, we go knight to D2. I think it's rook D1 or something to stop this threat. And then knight here, and then bishop here. And then you bring the rook over. And then he's still pinned here. So you have time to play F6, king F7, and knight E5 to stop this deadly diagonal. It's pretty theoretical stuff. That's how I saw you're a national master. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. So welcome to the stream, big fella. We in here. Cook to live with the lightsabers. Yes. Never play F6. Right, fine, gold. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rook takes D7. That probably is a thing. Probably is. Rook takes D7. Actually, no. Rook takes D7. Bishop takes D7. So you just come back and grab it. So you just come back and grab it. Pretty easy stuff. So, but he didn't go for this line, and you shouldn't really go for this if you want an advantage as white. So castles, I go knight to C6 and get out of the way. Just theoretical stuff as you usually do. D5, knight E7. Now, what you want to see is knight E1 or knight to D2. These are the usual moves. You always have B4 as well. B4 is another one, but honestly, the best ones to face, honestly, for black, playing with the black pieces here, the one that gives you the most trouble is the knight E1 versions, where they go knight D3, and they do all this because there's so many lines to it, and there's a lot of theory involved. But knight D2 is what he chose here. International master, I'm playing him. He's playing white. He goes knight to D2. This is a whole different kind of setup where actually they are going for B4 and etc. and stuff like that. So in this line, if you play this as black here, there's a couple ways you can play it. I saw Nerditsky do this too. It's pretty awesome to watch him play. I was like, oh man, Nerditsky playing my opening. Let's check this out, right? So knight to D2, we know he's going to play B4 or try to do B4 next and kind of just pawn storm you and pawn row you here. So what do you do actually with the black pieces here? You usually want to jump knight H5, but knight D2 stops you from doing so. And knight E8 is a little bit too far away. So it's kind of weird here. So it's black to move, guys. What do you do? If you know this theory, say it in chat. If you don't, totally fine. But what do you do here as black? Henry Kidd says B6 is the move he chooses. B6. Okay, A5 from TNK. A5 from DK79. Shreya Chess says, what's up? What's up? How are you? Great game. Pawn Storm. Yes, you can do some Pawn Storms. That is a thing. C6 from Dota. That's a common theme. Very common theme. You could play A5 too. Correct. Here we go. C6 is not the move. A5 from Detna. Here we go. You guys are all correct if you say A5 here. A5 is the right move. We go A5 and we're trying to just stop his queenside play first. A lot of times in the King's Indian Defense, if you do play it, you have to notice that, of course, they're going to outright try to blow you open on the queenside here. Thanks for the follow. So they're going to try to blow you open on the king side. And when they do this kind of thing, you can get in a lot of trouble on the queen side here. So what you have to do sometimes is stop the queen side play. And after you've obliterated the queen side play, then you turn the tables and switch everything to the king side, which is a completely different way of playing. Actually, Capablanca talks about that in Chess Fundamentals. I highly recommend you look at the book too if you don't have it. But Chess Fundamentals talks about that as one of the easiest ways to get an advantage is, of course, play on one side of the board. And then at a moment's notice, after stuff's done, you locked it up, switch it and go to the other side of the board. Because a lot of times the defenses of your opponent are lacking and they can't get over there to the other side. So it's pretty deep understanding here to understand what's kind of going on. So pretty good. Hey, popping in for a second. Before I go to bed, got a tournament tomorrow, got to rest up, have a good stream. All right, thanks, man. Rest up, and good luck to you tomorrow. Good luck to you. Cool, good stuff. So, A5, win on both sides, School of Karpov. I'm with that. So after A5, right, A5 happens, A3. Now, we understand, okay, the goal here, guys, is to lock down and stop White's queenside play. That's your goal here in the Knight D2 version. So, moral of the story here today, while we go through this game, in the Knight D2 version of the King's Indian Defense, when you face this, thanks for the follow, appreciate that. When you actually face this kind of King's Indian Defense, and Knight D2 is on the board here like this, what you have to do is stop the queenside play. We know it's coming, so we need to stop it. So next move for black, guys, A3 is on the board. What do you do, actually? This is very theoretical, so this is still theory for me. But what do you do, actually? Mr. Pope with bishop to D7 from Mr. Pope. Yes, Apollo agrees, I'm assuming. Apollo agrees. C6 at one point, all chess nerds, yeah. 98. 98 again. That is a thing. C6 at one point. Bishop D7 from BS Sheck. Bishop D7 from Mark Cervelli. This seems to be unanimous here, guys. It is correct. If you said Bishop D7, if you're thinking Bishop to D7, you are 100% correct. Bishop D7 is the move. Bishop to D7. Now, what is this move about, actually? What is this move about? Because this is what he did. He played Rook A2. Rook A2, which sometimes I still don't understand this move. But it is theory. It's theory. It's honestly theory. Rook A2. He just goes here. I mean, you could also go Rook B1, but Rook A2. Right, so I'll go Rook A2, or he goes Rook A2, and then it's black to move again. Finish up. You play Bishop to D7 to do what? It's your move. What was wrong with B6 instead of E5? Because if B6, he just goes B4, and he's a free hand at the king. And after he gets B4 in, it's not fun. It's not fun for black at all. That's how you get cramped positions very quickly. A4 from T and K, A4 from DK. A4 probably says T and K. Probably A4, huh? A4. Let's see. Controlling the diagonals on both sides of the board. This is a beautiful bishop. This bishop helps a lot in the attacks on the king side when you do this. This is a cramped position. Yeah, you have to know how, and this is why people lose in this opening, because you don't understand how, because it is cramped. A lot of times you have cramped positions and you have to maneuver the correct way. Knight to C8. That's an interesting move. I didn't even consider this ever. As in, like, it's not a move, it's not good, but I didn't even know this was here because it's just not good. It's just not good. And it's cramped. Push the F pawn. You want to push the F pawn, but you can't go Knight H5. This is the standard way of pushing the F pawn. The F pawn is here. There are lines where you go Knight to E8 when he goes King H1, because King H1 is for them to do a G4 push, which is kind of weird. It's definitely a very theoretical opening here, of course. Why did he play Rook A2? I mean, it's theory. That's the best way to put it. I have no idea why he put the rooks on A2. Maybe, I think for future reference, when they get B3 or B4 in, the rook's able to help. Hey, Rook A2, that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. But I'm not ever playing Rook A2, probably. I'll play Rook B1. There's moves in the King's Indian Defense. There are certain ones in the miscellaneous, is what they call it, chapter, of when you go B6 and A6, and then you rook lift via A7. So imagine my rook swinging on A7 over to E7 to double up this way on the E file. That's one way we would do this. That's the only way I can think he could use this Rook A2 move. Because it's still theory, though. It really is. So Rook A2, and then Martin Kessler says King H8 or Knight F to G8. Knight F to G8. Well, yeah, that's actually one of the lines in that's the Knight E1 stuff. Sometimes they'll go Knight E1, and then after playing G4 and H4, trying to stop black's attack themselves, they put the knight on G2, but a lot of times you go King H1, Knight F to G8, put the bishop on H6 to trade the nice one for theirs. It's a very deep and, again, theoretical line. Maybe check the engine happens. Yeah. So it's weird, right? But Rook A2. So he goes Rook A2. So you guys are right. A4 is correct. A4 is absolutely correct. So after A4, B4. Okay, so now B4 happens, and now what do you do on the board? Black to move. Black to move. B4 is here. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. En passant, en passant, en passant. Excellent. Okay. X E4 en passant. 100%. We en passant. But you have to follow up with the next. Thanks for the follow. Thorough. Thanks for the follow. C6 will be a line in certain ones, just not this one. That's usually when they throw out like H3 and G3 for waiting moves. Then you would play like C6 and B5 kind of lines. Long-term move, see what happens. Correct. Yeah, he's trying to swing this over eventually. So we in here. That's right. I'm a mod like chess. We are in here right now, big fella. B4 has been played. We en passant. We take back. Honestly, I'm still in theory, okay? Thanks so much for the tier. 1 sub. 4 months in a row, a mod like chess. 4 months, big fella. Thank you. Appreciate that. So I actually take it. Let me put these lightsabers over here just for you. Thank you so much, a mod like. So knight takes b3. Knight takes b3 is on the board. Now, you got some moves here, guys. We're still not done locking up the queen side here. You got some moves to do. Black to move. What do? Henry Kidd says pin the knight. That means bishop to a4. Pin the knight, he says. C6. Man, Dota is loving C6 here. Oh, my goodness. C6 is absolutely a move at the right moment, at the right time, especially in the lines where they play the early bishop e2, bishop e3, and then they do g4 out the opening. I had a King's, actually, World Open. I have a World Open playlist on the YouTube channel, and it was round 5 or 6. No, round 6 was Balaji, so it had to be round 5. Round 5, I was playing Jeffrey Quirk. And he's a national master, very strong. And he played this line out the opening with the g4 and h4 stuff very quickly. And you would play c6 then, which is a little bit different. Thank you, bro. Great analysis. No problem. No problem. Rook b8 and push, says Quinn. Coming from a straight windmill, he says. Okay. All right. And then, thanks, bro. b6, stop in c5. Pin is bad. B6 is logical. B6, A6, bishop A4. All right, here we go. Here we go. You guys are right. Bishop A4 is correct. Bam. Bishop A4 is right there. Bishop to A4. So what this is about is stopping the A pawn. Honestly, this is still theory. So I already knew this was going to happen. You also can play Queen E8 too. This is not that line, but Queen E8 is another one. But Bishop A4 is correct. We're just slowing down his side over here. He absolutely takes it. Okay, he absolutely takes it. Then rook takes back, and then he goes knight to d2, absolutely hitting the rook here. Now, this is why you do game analysis, guys, because before, let me actually ask you guys, what do you do? And I'm going to tell you about my game analysis. I had this similar position with another very strong, he had to be FM, IM, something like that, 2400 plus player. He was very strong, and I ended up losing the game because of what I did before. So I'm going to tell you what I did before and the improvement I made in this game that actually helped me win this game. So let's see. Queen to d7 says tasty. Knight takes e4. Good evening, young man. My coach still getting it. Thanks for the stream. No problem. Sekou 5'9". Good to see you, bro. Sekou 5'9". Knight takes e4. So what's your follow-up, Quinn? I just want to know. Knight takes e4. Knight takes e4. And then what? I just want to know what you're going to do next. Just tell me a move. Why not just retreat to rook if your idea is to attack on the king side, says Fate Weaver UK. Very interesting, right, guys? Queen a8. If you put an exclam after you move, it makes it good. Oh, okay. So let's see. Knight takes e4 exclam. So that should make it good. Got you. I didn't know that, big fella. And then fork the queen and the rook. Well, knight takes, like this. I just take the knight. And then there's nothing anymore. But it would be right if I do take the rook. The knight to c3. It seems to be dangerous to play bishop a4. Bishop a4 here. King h8 exclam. Oh, nice. That makes it a good move. Jumped off the deep end. King h8. Oh, man. Off the building. Queen a8, b5. Okay, I thought we would prefer taking the rook. That's correct. You know, never play hope chess. Never play hope chess. Unless you're getting destroyed, then you absolutely have to play hope chess. Because you're getting destroyed. You only can hope that he messes this up. So, but queen to d7. So let me tell you this, guys. Shout out to you if you said queen d7. Because in the previous game that I played this in, I actually did play queen d7. But it didn't end so well. And I didn't get crushed or anything. I just had a difficulty later on. And not that queen d7 is a bad move at all. It's not a bad move. I just thought queen d7 was cool because I could rook lift and put pressure. But it just wasn't correct. It's not the right way of playing. based off plans and ideas and based off of where my pieces are. Also, you know, it's good to know your pawn structure tells you on what side you should play on. So if you have this, it's pointing in this direction, I should be generally playing this way. So queen d7 in here, and playing on this side is almost trying to force an issue that it just doesn't work. So, you know, I have to do something else. So, man. Okay. So here we go. Knight to d2, and after that, here's what I did. Here's what I did, guys. Shout out to you if you play rook to a8, because that's what I did. I moved it back. And who said that first? UK? It was Mr. UK. Fate Weaver. Fate Weaver UK had the right idea first. Yep, there it is. He had the right idea. You move the rook back, and this is what, when I did post-game analysis, the engine recommended rook a8. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I went through literally almost the exact same game, but it was a different player. So I'm playing rook a8, and I'm like, oh man, okay. I remember the lines. I remember what the ideas were from the engine. So it helped me here, rook a8. So it doesn't belong up here. It belongs back here. It is natural square. So rook to a8. After rook a8, he goes a4. Okay, I go b6 like last time. And actually, he did the same thing that the last player played. Now, what do you take with rook or pawn? Because the game that I previously played this in, I lost. I lost the game. It got crazy. And this got very similar here, and I ended up messing this up. Now, this one still got wild. It got very wild, and I'll show you what happens here. But a5 happens. What do you do? Do you even take it or no? Rook takes a5. Okay, rook I'd say. So we got some rook takes a5. Knight d7, saying not taking it at all. Don't even take it. Actually, knight d7 is an interesting move. He could probably maybe want to play a6, but no realistic chances of queening that pawn. I can almost never, you know, I just never have to move my rook from here. And playing rook a7 would always lock me in there. Queen b8 from Pro Casual Gamer. That's an interesting move as well. Queen to b8 is a move. Let's see. Well, here we go, guys. You're correct if you say rook takes a5. That's what we chose here. Rook takes a5. Rook takes a5. In the previous game, I actually took with the pawn. And also, I was just like, I just wanted to see. I didn't understand yet. Should I take with the pawn? I didn't want to take rook takes a5 and have this pawn over here, like, weak. So I took with the pawn to already just be defending it and have a passed pawn myself. So I took with the pawn, had a rough game, and it was pretty tough figuring stuff out. But the engine, again, when I went through this in post-game analysis, they took this easily. Rook takes a5. So without thinking, I take on a5. He takes, I take, and then he goes c5. And I was like, man, he's coming at me. He's trying to mess my whole queen side up. Now, at this point, I am feeling pretty good because I did get this far. And, of course, this king side attack now, guys, sometimes you have to adapt to the position. And in this case, there is no way that I'm going to have time to play knight d7, f5, f4, g5, h5, g4, g3, knight h7, knight g6, queen h4. The standard King's Indian. This is the standard way to play the King's Indian. I have no time for that. So we have to adapt to the position and figure out what happens here. Let me catch up with the chat. Take with the rook, recapture with the b pawn, or to make a pass pawn. Correct, 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 correct. Yeah, but the rook is weak. Rook pawn's weak, yeah. Weak pawn is better than no pass pawn at all. F society. That's a funny one. Funny one. So I didn't have time for that. So what do you have time for? Now, the engine didn't like this move, of course, that I made here. I had a better move to make. Much better move. I wasn't into it, honestly. Let me actually turn the engine on, too. It's your recommendation time, guys. What do you actually do with the black pieces here? We have knight takes d5, exclaim, from Tasty Chocolate Heaven. Knight takes d5, getting 2 pawns out of it. Knight to c7. That's here. I think you mean knight d7. Knight d7 from Fate Weaver. Okay, too many arrows, Mr. Royal. Too many arrows, he says. Knight d7. You have c6 from No Fool. D takes c5 from Bishek. D takes c5. Knight c8. Not many moves, right? Not many moves. Here we go. Let's run through them. Now, shout out to you if you said D takes c5. Actually, Bishek is the first one to get it correct. And Gizmeister correctly after. D takes c5 is the first move by the engine. But I wasn't a fan of this because look at this pawn structure. This is atrocious. Are you? What do you mean take the pawn? Like, who's taking this pawn? Like, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. This pawn structure is so bad. So, and I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, who does this? Bishop a3, and now it's c6. And this is why, guys. D takes C. I'm actually tell you what I played. This is what I played. So we can talk about this in detail. What I played was C6. So shout out to you if you said C6, because this is, you have to, this is one of the things you do in the King's Indian. You eventually do break up the center. So how do you break it up is with the C pawn. You play C6 at the right moment to break this stuff up. But the engine says, not correct. You're supposed to take first. And no matter how he tries to get this pawn back, you go C6 afterwards. So that if he does take this, then we just obliterate the center. And black's fine. Black's even better here. But I was like, oh, okay. So it made sense there because I get to obliterate the center here. But I went with C6, and that's just inaccurate. And it's inaccurate because there's too many captures, which I thought was fine. I thought I was fine here, which it did end up still being crazy here. But he went knight C4. I'm like, whoa. There's a lot of captures. There's a lot of ways to go wrong here. So black to move, guys. What do you actually do? D takes C5, you got knight D7 defending everything, he says. And then probably knight C8, knight D6, and then hold and look at him, stare at him real hard. Feels good to be occasionally right, yes. It's not so bad because there is no opposing pawns. Correct. D5 from Marks. Knight takes E4. Okay. You ever played a Benoni? I play the Benoni only in, what variation is that? Only in the Finchetto variation. There's a certain part where my knight's on G4, or it can actually go to G4. It's actually, yeah, it's in the Finchetto variation where I'm sacking a pawn with B5 early on, and I have to know. So I've actually looked at some Benoni positions, particularly Carlsen's, just because if I ever face that, I want to know the ideas and plans so I don't get lost. So I don't play the Benoni, but in a certain variation of the King's Indian defense, I actually do. Knight to C4. So you guys have knight E4. Okay, C takes D5, knight E4, knight E4, D takes C5. Okay, so from this point on, actually, I had a very high accuracy after looking at this, guys. I was at 95 something, which I'm like, that's cool, you know. But playing against this international master too, I am playing at IM, and he's 24-52, super strong, very underrated actually. 24-52, he's international master. The guy's super strong. I was like 25-30 here, but I know that he is super strong, so I had to be accurate at all times, or it's going to be a problem. I didn't like knight takes E4 too much, just because I felt like it was just wrong, and these pawns and bishops and stuff. But knight takes E4 is objectively the best move, actually. The second move is what I played, so shout out to you for C takes D5, because that's what I did. I did C takes D5. Make it very, very interesting here. If he takes this pawn, I'm going to take this knight, and takes and takes and takes, and then we end up clearing everything out. I still got passed pawns. I'm feeling, well, this one, just one passed pawn, but feeling good about this position. Feeling great, right? Thanks, No Fool 78 for the follow. Yeah, you got it right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I saw. Yep, that's exactly. You know, it didn't happen like that, but that's what I did. So I took on D5. So what he did actually was he played knight takes D6. I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. So this was pretty good. So this knight's in here. He got slightly passed pawn. If I'm not careful, he can start defending this passed pawn, get behind this passed pawn, and annoy me a lot. So thanks for the follows. Alkiani and Freeport for life. Thanks for the follows. Appreciate it. Knight D6. Knight takes D6. Black to move. What do you do now? Knight takes D6 is on the board. Knight takes E4 right now, says Mr. Popezilla. Now, a knight takes E4 from Marks. 1888. Knight takes E4 from Marks Avelli. That's why I should see first. You should, honestly. Easy Riser, thanks for the tier 1, bro. Appreciate it. Put some lightsabers in the air for you, my dude. Right here, dude. Thanks. Thanks for the sub. Thanks for the love. E4. So everybody's saying E4, do something. 98 from Mr. Charm. Queen takes D6, looking crazy. Jumping off the deep end. You can. I mean, you can absolutely just like find a building, jump off of it. You absolutely can. I just didn't do that. What I did, though, is what you guys said in the chat. Knight takes E4. Knight takes E4. That's what I chose. And it's very complicated. It's very complicated here. Again, at the end of the day, check this out. Remember when I was like, man, this pawn structure is atrocious with the taking on C5 early. But then, after we go through all of this, this pawn structure is, again, disgusting. So anyway, I should have taken on C5. And that's something that I'm going to start doing. You know, from post analysis here. Take the C pawn first because I want his knight there. Yep. So I took. He went bishop A3. Now, what are you supposed to do here, guys? I actually did not, and it's not like this was a blunder, but the engine didn't like this move too much. And I understand. I just thought this was better, though. Cabalito says knight c6. Block the pass pawn. Henry Kids says knight to c6. I didn't make first, second, or third move here, which is like all three of them. Queen c7. Trade queens to knight c6. Okay, we got knight c6 again. Queen takes d1 from Gizmeister. g7, h6. Queen for d4 for no good reason. Queen d4 was a possibility. I actually thought about queen d4. Knight c6 because after the knight has two good outposts, d4 and b4 from Fate Weaver UK. Knight to f6. Kara, that's not a move. Kara, it's not a move. Knight to d5 from Joseph Townley. All right, so there it is. So I made Joseph Townley guessed my move. I played knight d5, but here's the engine recommendations. First is queen takes rook. Queen takes queen, and I thought about all these, guys. All of the moves I thought about. Knight c6, I was like, I can stay here, and honestly, I should have objectively went for this move. This is move number 2 in the engine. Knight to c6, and then maybe followed by knight d4. The best piece to blockade a pass pawn or any pawn in that manner is a knight, because they can still attack from the square that they're blockading from. I just didn't like being attacked with bishop b5 and stuff like that. And honestly, I just didn't think long enough for it because knight c6 just seems right. But I was into knight d5 because immediately I was just trying to trade and take this and do some stuff like that. Knight d5 just doesn't, it's not that it doesn't make sense. I also like knight f4 for queen g5 in some cases. So I thought it was good. I thought it was good, but the line with the queen takes rook is this way. Rook takes, and then you have rook to b8 is actually the recommendation. But here, you know how wrong you can go here with the black pieces? This does not look like no, I'm not doing this one. That's what the engine says. Engine's like, yeah, you almost -2 if you do this. I'm like, what? -2? Where? Where? What you talking about? Like, this is, you can easily get in trouble with this, the 2 bishops and the rook, and like, no, not today. Not today, bro. So I didn't do that. Pawn takes, and I actually went knight, I actually went knight to d5. Let's exit out of the game here. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I actually went knight to d5 right here. Okay, so knight to d5 was right here. Was calculating the problem in the book after the first move position there was a mate in 1 and a mate in 3 after that. Is it bad that I found a mate in 3 and didn't see the mate in 1? Calculating. No, it's not. Sometimes you just, what is it? Kramnik missed the mate in 2 against the computer he was playing. Don't remember what year it was, but they talked about it for a while because we still talk about it today where he missed it. It's actually in one of my favorite books, but it was talking about Kramnik missing a mate in 2 versus a computer. Pins the rook. Yeah. So knight b4, and I mean like him missing it on the computer, like not him getting mated. He actually just didn't see the 2-move checkmate against the computer to be able to beat the engine. So knight to b4 is what I chose. But he did this. Bishop c4. I went knight to b4. So the outpost, I did take advantage of it right here with knight to b4. Then after knight to b4, we have queen to a4. So at this point, this is very scary. And honestly, guys, I made all the right moves here. At this point, knight d5 was slightly an error, honestly, but it's not like a fatal error. It was just an error. But check this out. Now, at this point, with the queen on a4, still a lot of work to do. As black to move here, it seems like you're in trouble, but honestly, the evaluation reads -1, guys. Black is actually winning here. But you also have to think about the pawns. 3, 6, I have 6 pawns, he has 4. Yeah, they're not the best pawns to have, but I'm still up 2 pawns clear. So with that being said, I can give them back when I want to. We have to find a move for black now. What do you do, guys? We have e3, knight d3, queen d4, queen d4. Not clear what's the best move, says Cabalito. We have e3, knight to d3. Probably queen d2. Queen b8, I don't know. Mark Savelli, knight d3. All right, here we go. Here we go. Man, shout out to you, Quinn. You got one right this time. Okay. Kara, Quinn, and Gizmeister all set queen to d4. That's what I play here. You make threats, guys. I'm hitting this pawn. I'm also hitting this bishop. So if he moves his light square bishop, I get to take the c5 pawn, grab another one. And if he takes on g5, well, I can do an in-between move, or Zug, where I can take this too and go this route, but I didn't. I actually did this move, which is the engine's recommendation too. I took this just to pin this. 1 out of 10, not bad. Correct, Quinn. Not bad, big fella. 1 out of 10. Look at you go. 1 out of 10. So I'm pinning this. So he has to take this, right? He takes it. Now here we go. Oh my goodness. I pulled out the lightsaber and I sensed it. I sensed that something was here. So I took off the Jedi robe, turned on the saber, and went to work. Black to move, guys. What do you do? What do you do? King's Indian defense is now about to get very sharp here. Very, very sharp. I sat around and I looked around the board and I was like, I have to do something. I am a Jedi. What do I do? And then we look in the chat and we see E3, rook to B8 from Cavalito, rook B8, rook B8, rook B8. I want a rook D8. What's up, buddy? Says Dutna to Quinn. E3, rook B8, E3 with the poggers from Mark Savelli. E3 and E3 again. F5 from Gambitier. F5. Here we go. Queen to C2, E3. So this is what I did, guys. I indeed went E3. I went E3 because I was like, oh, I'm about to try to shake it up here. And this bishop is the only thing not active. So the only way to get him active is like bishop H6. It'd be nice to have something here. So watch the sequence here as it bounces back. Takes bishop H6. I'm now hitting this with check. And if you notice, guys, that's why I like to make threats. And when the more threats you make, my international master opponent here is super strong, right? Super strong, right? So, you know, you have to make threats and it works all the same. I make a threat, he does something about it. I make another threat, he does something about it. I make a threat, I make another threat, there's bishop H6. Boom, bishop D2. So now I need something else to do. What do you think I did? Made another threat, rook C8. Hit the pawn now. Activity is here. Rook to C1, black to move, guys. Black to move is about to get crazy. I sensed it here. We're flipping, we're battling, lightsabers are clashing, things are happening, pieces are falling off of everything. And it's getting crazy right here. It's getting wild. The engine right now says -1. That's it. It's not crushing, but black does have an initiative. But watch the next few moves. Was rook B8 objectively bad? Last decision. Rook to B8. Oh, right here? Right here? You mean, wait, where is rook B8 bad? Rook B8. Oh, you mean here. Here. I think here. Takes rook B8 because I just don't have, like, I just don't think it's right, honestly. I just don't think it's right. He also, there's tactics involved. Maybe queen here and then check on the back rank. No, but this is hanging. So bishop A3 does stop anything on this file, and this is still defended. And I don't have the most accurate threats. I probably could play rook B8. But bishop H6 was just better for me. That's what I saw at the time. Bishop H6, here we go. And everyone says queen to E2. Queen to E2 is exactly what I played. He played queen to C3. What do you do now, guys? Black to move. Oh my goodness. Black to move. Send the stretcher. I'm going to get them ready right now. I'm sending my stretchers in the chat. There you go. I'm going to put the that's not a moves because the next move he made, or this move he made, was not a move. It indeed was not a move. Okay. After I made this next move, he found the nearest building he could find, went up to the top floor, and jumped off the deep end. GG. That was it. Here we go. Here we go right here. Here it is. Bishop F8. They say rook D8. Rook D8. Here it is. Rook takes C5. Rook takes C5. Okay. Rook to D8. As simple as it is, the game is over. There is nothing you can do. If you try to find a move, there is not one. If you thought that you found a move, there is not a move on this board that will save you from what's happening next. Rook to D8, simple move, ends the game on the spot. The international master goes down. I stood up, I hit him with 2 quick swifts of the lightsaber, and he dropped. Rook to D8. It's over, guys. Let's check out all the lines. Why is it over? Why can't he just move the bishop? Well, let's do that first. Only square is here. Well, that's self-explanatory. Bishop takes. Actually, queen takes is even better because I like to trade when I'm up and not when I'm down. So, especially after he takes, then we takes, and then we just take the rook. Decisive material advantage. I could also just take with the bishop too, and I think this is, yeah, this works too. It doesn't matter, honestly, but it's just a matter of time before somebody wins this. So, that doesn't work. Okay, well, how about defense? Well, you can't go rook d1, obviously. Rook e1, I just take on d2. That's a free piece for me. So rook to c2, well, did you do your puzzle rush today? Hit the man with a move. Oh my goodness. And then you like flying back in slow motion like the Matrix. It's crazy. Rook takes d2. Then after he takes, bishop takes e3. Hit the man with a move. Start a new one. Start a new one. That is not a move. That is not a move. Rook takes d2. Even better. Mate on the board. Don't even do that to yourself. So, rook to c2. It's over. There's nothing you can do. You don't even have another move. There is no other moves to make. You have rook to c2, move the bishop, or rook e1. That's it. What he played, thanks for the follow. Kirby1, thanks for the follow. What he played was actually something else. H3, he actually played this. C6. That's what he played. He played C6. Because, I mean, he didn't know what to do. Like, there's nothing else to really do. C6. So he just played C6. That was it. C6. I just took the rook on D2. Or took the bishop. Can white play rook and pass pawn versus the queen? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You could try it. And that's what he tried. That's exactly what he tried here. But after queen takes, you don't have enough time. You just don't have enough time here. You don't have enough time to take this rook and do everything else. That's it. Here, that's it. Queen takes d2. The game was over. And the Jedi wins. And I stand up and I'm like, let's go. In the house. All hype. Because that's how I am when I play my chess games. Especially against strong players like this International Master. So this is King's Indian Defense. This is Jedi Mastery. If you missed the entire game, let's check it out again from the beginning. From the beginning. So let's go. Okay. D4, knight f6, c4, g6. Okay. So here we go. Let's do knight to c3, castles, d6, bishop e2, e5, knight c6, knight e7, knight d2, a5, a3, bishop d7, rook a2. Okay, a4. Coming for your nips. Thanks for the follow, bro. Appreciate it. a4, b4. A takes b3. Knight takes b3. And in this, again, when you have this kind of King's Indian, what they're trying to do here is actually play on the queen side as much as they can. And I like to stop a4. That's usually what they do. So bishop a4 is actually the best way to do it. Rook takes, knight d2, rook a8. Before, queen d7 was my favorite here because I would love to double up. But unfortunately, that just doesn't work. So rook to a8. What if you go back knight to b8? Here? You mean back here. So if you go back knight to b8, it's not that it's a terrible move, honestly. It's just not the right move. It is not the correct move. And you may not get in trouble about this because you honestly could play this. I think you'll be more cramped than usual. I think it'd be even more cramped than what it is. This is the more natural move as it doesn't get in the way. And it's also known in theory that a lot of times this knight goes to g6 later. That if they do, for instance, I'll show you a sample line. Knight e7, knight e1. We'll go knight to d7, knight d3, f5, f3, f4. They go b4 sometimes, knight f6, c5, g5, a4, knight to g6. So the knight actually sits here. So if it's on b8, it can be here, but it's actually nice to have him here. For h5, rook f7, bishop f8, rook g7, knight h4, g4. Usually happens that way, or this knight swings from h8 to f7, back over to h6 just to push g4. While this is all happening, pawn takes, the queen can come to c8. Usually you can go to h4 as well, especially when you get the pawn to g3. That's usually how it works in these lines all the time in the King's Indian Defense. And you have to know what you're doing and use the king side just in that manner. What's good, big homie? What's up, Checkmate the Great? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well. So, Naka arrows right there. Yeah, I went to the school of Naka. So, that's what it is. I went to the school. I graduated from the school of Nakamura. Clear, yes. You need to pin on the knight on f3 first. No, you actually never, not that you never pin this knight, but a lot of times you do. Or take the knight on f3? No, you never want to take that either. It's like you usually never do. With all these arrows, I should be winning. Correct. It's never that easy though. Never that easy, but that's the King's Indian Defense there. The boy Arrow game is nuts. Yeah, man. Yep. This is honestly correct. This is how you're supposed to play the King's Indian. All the arrows are correct. Absolutely. School of Hard Knockers. That was drop the mic. That was great. That was great. Big fella. That's right. We in here. So that's the game, though. That's the game against the International Master. And that is Jedi Mastery in the King's Indian Defense.